All right, in this video, we're going to go further with our if, else logic blocks. So again, an if, else logic block helps us make a conditional assessment and engage in action as a function of variables that have been stored in the past. We're going to do a dynamic example, so let's just say user equals menu, and we need a question. So we're going to say, what sound would you like to hear? All right, so that's going to be my question. We've talked about the menu function in the past. Oops, one more, dot. I've also talked about how if well, let's just do it like this. So we want to ask, do you want to hear hallelujah? Do you want to hear a gong? Do you want to hear laughter? Do you want to hear a bird chirp? Do you want to hear a train whistle? Or would you like to hear a splat? Now, we've talked about this in the past. See, our information is a little too wide. We can't really see it all. So after I've asked my question, because what goes into the menu function first is the question, everything that follows, all of those strings, that's the text that's going to appear on the buttons that pop up in the menu window. But I can, after I've done my comma, say dot, 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 and take it to the next line. And then dot, 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 take it to the next line. And dot, 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 take it to the next line. We're doing this because if we're going to do it after one selection, we might as well do it after all selections. And here we go, dot, 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 and splat. So these are all my choices. Now in the end, I'm going to suppress this input from the user as user. So we're not going to see it in the command window. But for now, I sort of would like to know what gets saved, because we've covered this conversation before. So I'm going to go ahead and click on laughter. And it says user equals 3. Okay, so let's check. Click on gong. User equals 2. This is that oddity that we covered when we dealt with the menu function before. We said that what gets saved is the number. So we have to deal with that. Let's talk about how to deal with it. We can deal with it using an if, else block. So now I'm going to say, look, if user is equal to 1, then I'm going to load a file. Okay, this is built into MATLAB. It's called handle.mat. Handel's the guy that composed Hallelujah. Okay, that's just what the file is called. A mat file works in the following way. We ran this program, and what we got was a workspace that contains a current value of user. Great. If I don't want to run a program in order to produce all these values, then I can just load values. That's what a mat file is. To give you a little for instance, before we go any further, I have a data processing program that takes about 6.5 days to run. When it's done, I have about 200 variables that have been computed that contain arrays that are just enormous over here in my workspace. I can load just those variables. So if every time I need to use that information, I could run my processing program, wait 6.5 days, 4.5 is actually the minimum it's ever taken. I can wait several days to get all of that data, or I can save my workspace as a .mat file, then I can just load it, and I can deal with all that information. That, for me, takes about 5 minutes for all that information to load. So 5 minutes is preferable to 5 days on average. So that's what we're doing. We're loading a file. Let's go ahead and say end, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to run my menu. I'm going to choose Hallelujah, and you'll now see that we have the user selection like we had before. Now we have fs and y. That's in that handle.mat file. That mat file contains variables. Well, user can be more than just one. We can say, else if user is equal to 2, then we're going to load. And for the second one, it's going to be gong.mat. All right. Now again, we've done this before. I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to come down and say paste, 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 because I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to enumerate it all first so that I know how many I have. 5, and then my last one's going to be an else. We've covered that before, and then I won't need this. So this is going to be my logic block. Let me make my command window a little bit smaller so I can see all of this together. Now I have handle.mat for hallelujah. I have gong.mat for the gong. Obviously, the next one, it sort of follows, is laughter.mat. For 4, it's chirp.mat. I think that's what it is. We'll see. Although I can't spell anything correctly. Good Lord, chirp. We'll say train.mat, and then the last one is actually splat.mat. So here's the deal. After I run this code, I can select anything. Laughter. I see I have an fs and a y. This one is 52,634 by 1. It's an array. When I open it, it looks like this. It's really not all that important. I'll just go through it with you. What y contains is intensities. When we put those intensities into a program or a function called sound sc, and I pass sound scy, what we're going to get is an audible tone. Now, I don't actually know if this is going to capture my audio, so you're going to have to run this on your computer to see what happens. But if I do this and I say gong.mat, okay, it's busy. Now it just played a gong. So that played through my headphones. They're right here. So I don't know if the recording captured it. I will go ahead and do this. We'll say run. I'll say laughter. So I don't know if you could hear that. It was really, really light. I don't usually like doing sound capture through the recordings because it gets kind of obtuse. Like if your speakers are turned up, it'll just sort of like blow your ears out because the sound that gets captured through the microphone isn't as loud as the sound that's generated. So here's what you can do. You can start playing with this. But again, what we've done here is we've prompted the user with a menu. The user gets to choose the sound. I'm going to suppress that. And then the sound, the file associated with the sound that the user selected based on the menu saves a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5, or a 6. So if we don't have a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, we have a 6. So our last is a catch-all. We could make it else if user is equal to 6. But this is what we have. So now we have a logic block that goes through. It takes whatever the user has chosen in that pop-up, and it plays the file or the sound associated with the information that's in the file we loaded based on what the user chose. So again, this was pretty quick. We went through this example. I'm going to put up more examples for else if blocks just to give you a little bit more experience, a little bit more perspective. Again, I'm going to end this video the same way I've ended the last few, and that is I've been doing this a long time. Perspective gains you a lot of things, but it also nets me the inability to see what it is that I take for granted. So while I talk about some of these things as if they're like a foregone conclusion, you know, you guys are learning this for the first time. So if this didn't make sense and you need some more clarification, you know, put a comment down in the, post something down in the comments. If it did help, you know, post something down in the comments. Also, you can like and subscribe. And so as I end all my videos, I'll just tell you again, I hope this helped, and until next time.